Okay, that's what I'm gonna talk today. It's about Kotlin in action, Kotlin Native. Like the first question, did someone use Kotlin? Can you hear me? Like, it's better. Did someone use Kotlin? Cool, cool. Kotlin multi-platform? Nope. Okay, so probably you know about the Kotlin Native, but you didn't know about that it exists. So that's kind of discovery. So don't be confused about Synology if you've never hear about this one or never use it. So it just basically Linux machine. That's it. That's what you need to know. Like if you replace the standalone agent for Linux, that's about it, about this one. So the first things about myself, but yeah, just software engineer with like wide range of experience, like mostly my expertise in mobile development. So I'm just in Swift, Kotlin multi-platform, React Native in the past, Flutter as well, because I have my personal app. It's written in Flutter for like I create for my son to learn words, and it's available in App Store, so like you can find it. So happy to connect if you want. Just grab QR. That's my GitHub account with bunch of the projects, because I have like some of the project which is open source. One of this Synology DNS, but it's original one which I made roughly 3 years ago, and it's like some community growing about this one. So, and the second project, you can find both of them in my LinkedIn profile. So, okie doke, let's go. Next one. That's about the agenda. This is the project repo. If you just grab and scan, you can see the GitHub repo, like with all of the file explanation, documentation almost there. And I will you can just follow when I will discuss about this one. So the agenda is like, why is this project? Why I've actually made it? What is Kotlin Native? And about the project, technical challenges. There are a few of them, and now, yeah, let's move on. I will start from terminology, like what's Synology DSM SRM is like. So it's like basically Linux-based operation system for managing, like you can see from the right side, not from the left side. So this is, they have like a huge range of different devices, like from the small for like from small business users and for like a big server rack, like big machines, like service, like a servers. And they have their operation systems like Linux based. I don't know what exact Linux, like they made this like proprietary system. And what I've discovered, it's like they have two versions of this one x64 Linux and one ARM64. So because they also have like routers, like networking stuff, and they also probably like in between of this system. And the second one is the SRM. That's kind of short version of the first system, but for the routers, mostly for the routers. So it doesn't have like management for the disks. So like basically it's like a small computer with a bunch of disks. That's it. That's pretty much it. So Cloudflare, probably you familiar what the Cloudflare is. It's like just global network service when you can connect your website, DNS, like managed DNS. The best thing is like you can proxy your DNS, like they hide the real IP address and do like same like AWS CloudFront. I always confuse about Cloudflare, CloudFront. So like basically the same things, but it's a different company. So they have the huge variation of services, but I didn't cover all of them. I basically use DNS and dynamic DNS, like if you never heard about this one, but it's most commonly used like in home routers. So like when you have your router, like whatever computer connected, and you constantly change the IP address, so like you basically connect with the DNS and update it. Like you have, home dot whatever your domain, and your machine, and like once time you change your IP address, it just tells this cloud provider and update it. There are a bunch of the DNS, dynamic DNS services. Most of them are free, but most popular Cloudflare, because they have a free tier and it's include kind of security things. The most useful is like proxy when you hide, because no one's want to like share your publicly your IP address, and they just basically hide it. So that's pretty much about this one. Probably we can just move on. Maybe you have any question on this stage? Not really. Okay, cool. Let's see if it's clear. So let's move. So why is this project, like why I actually made it? So the reason is like because I have one of these machines, so like I just need to automate. And if you just check the services they support, they don't have Cloudflare out of the box. They don't support it, so you have to manage it by yourself somehow, like whatever. They just give you a tool, but like you have to make it so. So I need this support. So have a few domain names which I want to support. So I don't need just one. Like they provide like host name. It means like you have one domain and you can link one domain. I don't need just one domain. I just multiple domains. I just want to have subdomains, multiple domains, like big range of tools. So they don't give me this solution out of the box, so I have to make this by myself. And it just the case is, so what it should be is like standalone agent. So I want to compile it. It's binary because it's the machine, and just run it. Has to support Linux x64 architecture and Linux SRM64, and no dependency, like because I don't know what the system works on, what kind of dependency they want to run. So like has to be just like executable file, run, do the job, that's it. All right, let's move on. So what is Kotlin Native? As I mentioned, like from the documentation, like you can just Kotlin Native is the technology compiling the Kotlin code to native binary without running a virtual machine. So like no JVM, nothing. They could just compile it directly and run it. And if you use Kotlin multi-platform, you probably already use Kotlin Native, because when you use Kotlin multi-platform, whatever you target in iOS, macOS, that's already Kotlin Native. So like they didn't mention about this one, but if you see this scheme that I mentioned, so like accept JVM, iOS desktop, this level is always Kotlin Native. They didn't highlight it, I mean JetBrains, but that's pretty much about it. So they targeted a lot of platforms. They have like different tiers, like a first level, of course, it's like macOS, iOS. But it also, you can see like it's tier 2, like Linux x64, RM64. So sounds like good, like perfect for my project. So I'm gonna move it, because I'm already as an Android developer. So I know Kotlin. We use Kotlin at company, like Kotlin multi-platform. So like I know this like knowledge, like not expecting something. I should probably, but yeah, I didn't. Okay, so let's move on. So before I started, actually, like, because I don't know, like, how the Synology works inside of it. Like, you can connect it via SSH. Like, that's what I open. And of course, I want to make like a simple project, like Hello World, but Hello Kotlin Native. Just make sure it works. Actually, and you can see like a simple. That's basically you can run. It's just the Gradle build. You can target in like what's the target you run it, the binary, the executable, Kotlin multi-platform, the latest one. Basically, that's it. And you just print hello Kotlin, that's it. And you compile it. It gives you binary. So that's what I run. It works. So like I've proven it should work. Okay. So the next piece, because as I mentioned, like Cloudflare, they have API which you have communicate. Because what I have to use is like I have to get the list of domain names that what I have, like DNS records, get all of this list, compare that's what list I have inside of my Synology, and just update them. Let's send a bunch of requests, just update these, like say, hey, you have like domain 1, blah, 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 update with this IP address, and just move on. So they have Cater. Did someone use Cater? No. So Cater is also baked by JetBrains. So that's it. It's like they have two parts, like client side and server side. So it's like just a lightware framework to build a synchronous server side or client side application for just communication, like sending HTTP requests. That's basically about it. So, like from the, you can just connect like multiple dependencies, like to start using it. But pretty much it's like kind of simple. They have standardized structure to code, and that's basically it. No rocket science, no AI, nothing, just pure, simple and straightforward. So that's the dependency. Okay, the first challenge is like when I start building the network layer. So the first things happen, like so I just check because they support like multiple platforms, and like you have to check like whatever platforms you use, you have to select the actual engine like you want to use to send in any request. I gotta check, okay, we use like at work, I use like CIO, works perfectly. We use it, all good, no problems. Like I have to try with this one. I already know how to send the request, almost there. So like nothing new for me. So I just pick it up because I just check the table. It's there. JVM, Android, native. So I need native. So it's basically it. I'll just build my project, connect all of the dots, put all of the logic, so almost there. So I know how to send the request, so like I just check it, and I actually compile it and build on Synology and got this message. I'm being confused, like start researching what's going on, like why? And like the answer is like this engine, like it doesn't support like HTTP requests. Like what? It's like 2024, it doesn't support like HTTPS requests. It's like nightmare, like shouldn't be like this. So I just keep doing like research, searching. There is also like, I didn't put the link, but there's they have the JetBrains have the what's the uTrack? uTrack is like the system that they track bugs, and they have these bugs open for about 2 or 3 years. So some people like writing like still any progress on this one. Okay, good luck, guys. Wait. And in some of these like messages, I found some of the guys like mentioned, hey, use this Kirill engine like for Cater client, and it should work. So, okay, have to try it. If I go back to this one, you can find this one. It's just on top of it, and it's also native. Okay, it's like, well, I have to try like just the one more dependency in the list, like what I previously I had 3. It's like extra one. That makes sense. Like so, extra one. So I added this one because I develop on like this machine actually, and it's the different architecture. Like this is macOS SRM 64. So I changed it to target like how it should works here, and it worked actually. Like when I compile, like say for this machine, I just could compile the binary, run on this machine, it works, but its architecture is different. Like I need targeting Linux x64 or Linux ARM64, so it's a bit different. Like so I can't run this one. So basically, I'm just the next step. I just stuck again, and that's pretty much like probably that's why I've got this T-shirt from JetBrains. So they probably knew something about it, but yeah. Anyway, and it just stuck on this issue again, trying to solve the problem again. Like start to research Kotlin GitHub repo and found like, okay, they have they in the one specific version, someone actually added, like you can see here, someone added like their client rule Linux ARM64 support for like in the version like 3.0.0 beta. Okay, that's cool. I have to use it. So when I connected, like I was thinking it should work. Now it works. That was my face actually. Until I moved to build process again. So and finally, so like I just tried to build. It's like it's been proven like because it works for macOS ARM64, but I need Linux. Like I need just Linux targets. Like just go to documentation website, and they mention like, hey, just use like install like link4. It's gonna be fine for you. Like what? So I'm just copy paste. Use it, binary actually builds, but when I executed, I didn't put the screenshot. It just failed with like random issues. Like, what's going on? I think it's like a worst case when you have this one, when you build something, but it fails on the step when you expecting it should work actually, but it didn't. And I start to research again and again, until I found like there are few version of this libcurl exist. To be honest, I don't know why do I need this knowledge. It probably sleep better without this knowledge. But yeah, I found that this specific version works in my case. So I just built the GitHub action, select the automate the process of building. And finally, I've got this Linux x64 binary, which works well, and when I run it, so like works perfectly. And final step, like when I just create the installation script. I wouldn't explain about this one, but if you scan again like the same repo, you can find like install.sh. So that's basically what script does. It just copy the binary, put into Synology, like just do configuration, and you at the end of process, you can see like because you probably remember like the first script first screen when I show like this one. So nothing there. At the end of process, you will be able to select Cloudflare as your service provider. Put multiple names. It's like support like multiple domain names. I didn't put all of them. It's like slash, and you can just put multiple domain names. Your IP address it detects. I just put like as an example, but it detects from your machine, and it works like automatic, like a native process. On your Synology, every time when it's update, like your service provider updates your IP address, it will automatically trigger and just trigger your binary script, and it will run. So that's basically about the project. Thank you. Yeah, if you have any question, feel free to ask.
We got one question in the back.
I'll probably do it. Probably a rookie question because it's a bit outside my grade. But say you now needed access to APIs. Is that pretty easy to do with Kotlin Native, or would you have to start getting into the nitty-gritty?
I would say if I wouldn't stuck with these problems, it's probably gonna be like, I mean, if like on this stage, if it works as predicted, like as probably it's gonna be like a smoothless process, like without any issues. Like you just basically run an update. It's gonna be like tiny binary, and you can run like on any IoT devices, like Raspberry Pi, whatever, like a small tiny device. I mean, that's probably made it for these reasons. But because you can see some of the things is like still in beta, like on active development, like, and Linux is not very popular platform. I think if it's macOS, it works perfectly. It's well supported. iOS well supported, but not Linux. Linux, like if you see the documentation and this tiers, here. This one. This is like tier 3 or 4 of support.
It wouldn't be Linux if you didn't have to work a bit harder for it that way.
Yes. Yes.
And another question, probably a bit selfish. Say you did suddenly want to shove heaps of dependencies in it. Have you got access? I don't know what the ecosystem for Kotlin Native looks like in terms of dependencies, but have you got full access to everything, or are you going to be pretty restricted in what you can install depend on it?
Do you mean about the installing to Synology or?
Synology. Well, yeah, I guess both.
I think Synology is like mostly like once you connect via SSH, it's basically like a Linux machine. They give you like whatever you want to do because you are owner of the system. Up to you.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else have any other questions? Okay. All right, well, thank you so much, Kirill. I actually found that really interesting. I have one quick question. What would be the reason someone would use Kotlin Native over any other language? Like, because it seems like you really like it, but what is it that you like about it?
I think probably the why I like it is like I already know about this one. Like it's not about the language. Like when you start developing and like trying to solve the problem, like trying to find the right tools, it's not always about the language. I wouldn't advocate to pick the language and the used language because you can see the origin of this project I made on PHP. It works because it works. Like it doesn't matter. And the first things, like as a software engineer, like don't be like biased by language, by tools. You're not selling the tools like it's just tools. Like as a phone or something, like you use it. Try to solve problem. That's the case. So that's the Kotlin. It was perfectly solving because I already know this knowledge because I know like I have expertise on it. I found that Kotlin they have the technology which cover in my case. Why not?
Well, that's really interesting. And thank you so much for the talk.
Thank you.
I'd like to present you a very small gift. So thank you for
so much.
speaking.
Thank you.
And great. Thank you. Great presentation. Thank you.